First contact. The morning sun crept over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. Max stretched, his muscles protesting after a night spent sleeping on the forest floor. He ran a hand through his unkempt beard, wondering if today would be the day he finally shave it off. But then again, who was there to impress? As far as Max knew, he was the last free human on Earth. The rest of humanity had retreated into virtual reality pods centuries ago, leaving the planet to heal and flourish in their absence. Max was a descendant of those who had chosen to remain in the physical world, tasked with maintaining the systems that kept the sleepers alive. But that was a lonely existence, and Max often found himself talking to trees and animals just to hear a voice other than his own. He never expected that today, everything would change. A low hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. Max's heart raced as he scrambled to his feet, eyes scanning the sky. There, breaking through the clouds, was a sleek silver ship unlike anything he'd ever seen. "Well, I'll be damned," Max muttered, shielding his eyes as the ship descended into the nearby clearing. "Looks like the neighborhood's getting some new residents." The ship touched down with surprising grace, barely disturbing the wildflowers that carpeted the meadow. Max approached cautiously, his curiosity overriding any sense of self-preservation. As he neared, a panel on the side of the ship slid open, revealing two figures that made him stop in his tracks. They were unmistakably alien, yet hauntingly beautiful. Both had iridescent skin that shifted colors in the sunlight, large almond-shaped eyes, and slender bodies that moved with inhuman grace. One had hair like spun silver, while the others resembled liquid gold. The silver-haired alien spoke first, her voice melodic and clear. "Greetings, Earth creature. I am Zara, and this is my sister Lyra. We come in peace." Max blinked, then burst out laughing. The aliens exchanged confused glances as he doubled over, tears streaming down his face. Finally, he managed to catch his breath. "I'm sorry," he gasped. "It's just, I've been alone for so long, and the first thing I hear from an alien is the most cliché line in human science fiction." Lyra, the golden-haired alien, tilted her head. "We do not understand. Our language implants should be functioning correctly." Max straightened up, wiping his eyes. No, your English is perfect. It's just, never mind. I'm Max. Welcome to Earth, I guess. Though I gotta say, you're a few centuries late for the party." Zora's brow furrowed. Late. Our records indicated that Earth was a thriving civilization, rich in resources and culture. We came to study and potentially establish diplomatic relations. Max's smile faded. "Yeah, about that. It's a long story. But first, how about I show you around? Seems like you ladies could use a guide to paradise." As they set off into the forest, Max couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and trepidation. For years, he'd longed for company, for someone to share the wonders of Earth with. Now he had not one, but two alien visitors. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that their arrival would change everything. Zora and Lyra marveled at the lush vegetation, their eyes wide as they took in the riot of colors and scents. Max led them to a crystal-clear stream, chuckling as they hesitantly dipped their toes in the cool water. "It's safe, I promise," he assured them. "In fact, why don't we follow it? There's something I want to show you." As they walked along the stream, Max explained the basics of Earth's ecosystem, pointing out various plants and animals. The aliens absorbed every word, their curiosity seemingly insatiable. "Your world is so alive," Lyra said, her voice filled with wonder. "Our home planet, Astria, has been sterile for generations. We've forgotten what it means to coexist with nature." Max raised an eyebrow. "Sterile? That sounds challenging." Zara nodded solemnly. "Our civilization advanced rapidly, but at a great cost. We achieved technological marvels, but lost touch with our planet's natural rhythms. Now, we struggle to maintain our population, our passion for life dimming with each generation." The sound of rushing water grew louder, and Max grinned. Well, if it's passion you're looking for, this ought to wake you up. They rounded a bend, and the aliens gasped in unison. Before them was a magnificent waterfall, its waters cascading down moss-covered rocks into a deep, emerald pool below. Rainbows danced in the mist, and the roar of the falls filled the air. Without hesitation, Max stripped off his shirt and kicked off his shoes. "Last one in is a rotten egg," he shouted, running towards the pool. Zara and Lyra watched in shock as Max leaped off a rock, tucking his legs up to his chest before plunging into the water with a triumphant whoop. He surfaced a moment later, shaking water from his hair like a dog. "Come on," he called, waving them over. "The water's perfect." The sisters exchanged uncertain glances. "Our environmental suits," Zara began. Max rolled his eyes. "Are probably unnecessary. Look, if Earth's air was going to kill you, it would have done it by now. Live a little." Lyra was the first to move, hesitantly removing her suit to reveal a shimmering bodysuit underneath. She approached the water's edge, dipping a toe in experimentally. A smile spread across her face. "It's pleasant," she said, surprise evident in her voice. With a deep breath, Lyra stepped into the pool, gasping as the cool water enveloped her. Max swam over, offering a steadying hand. "See, not so bad, right?" Zara, not to be outdone by her sister, quickly shed her own suit and joined them. As the aliens acclimated to the water, their initial trepidation gave way to joy. Soon, they were splashing and laughing like children, marveling at the novel sensations. Max watched them with a mixture of amusement and something deeper, a warmth spreading through his chest that had nothing to do with the sun overhead. For the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. As the day wore on, Max led Zara and Lyra on a whirlwind tour of Earth's natural wonders. They hiked to the top of a nearby hill, gasping at the panoramic view of forests, mountains, and the glittering ocean in the distance. They marveled at a field of wildflowers, each blossom a riot of color and fragrance. As the sun began to set, Max built a campfire, teaching the aliens how to roast marshmallows and telling them stories of Earth's history. "So, let me get this straight," Zara said, licking sticky marshmallow from her fingers. "Your entire species chose to enter virtual stasis rather than face the challenges of the real world." Max sighed, poking at the fire with a stick. "Not all of us. My ancestors, and a few others, chose to stay behind. Someone had to maintain the systems, keep the sleepers alive. But yeah, most of humanity decided that a perfect virtual world was better than trying to fix the real one." Lyra frowned. "But how can they truly live, truly experience, if it's all an illusion?" "That's the million-dollar question," Max replied, "and one I've been wrestling with my whole life. Don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal. In the virtual world, there's no pain, no suffering, no difficult choices. But there's also no real growth, no genuine connection to the world around you." Zora's eyes reflected the dancing flames as she spoke. "It seems our civilizations have taken opposite paths to the same destination. We sought to control our world so completely that we stripped it of life, while your people retreated into a world of pure imagination." Max nodded, and both choices left something essential behind. "But maybe that's why you're here. To remind us of what we've lost and to rediscover what you've forgotten." As the fire died down to embers, the trio lay back on the soft grass, gazing up at the star-filled sky. Max pointed out constellations, weaving tales of ancient myths and legends. The aliens listened, enraptured, their own stories of the cosmos blending with human lore in a tapestry of shared wonder. In that moment, beneath the vast expanse of the universe, the barriers between human and alien seemed to fade away. They were simply three souls, united in that awe of the world around them and the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. As Max drifted off to sleep, he couldn't help but smile. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new discoveries, and perhaps a chance to change the fate of two civilizations. For the first time in years, he looked forward to the dawn with genuine excitement. Little did he know the true challenges and the true wonders were only just beginning. The awakening. The next morning, Max awoke to the sound of hushed alien voices. Zara and Lyra were huddled together, their iridescent skin shimmering in the early light as they whispered urgently. As soon as they noticed Max stirring, they fell silent, exchanging guilty glances. "All right, spill it," Max said, stretching as he sat up. "What's got you two looking like kids caught with their hands in the cookie jar?" Lyra spoke first, her golden hair catching the sunlight. "We were discussing our mission parameters. Our superiors expected us to gather data on Earth's civilization, not frolic in waterfalls." Max couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, consider yesterday's frolicking as hands-on research into Earth's natural wonders. But if it's civilization you want to see, I've got just the thing. Ever heard of a city?" The alien's eyes widened with interest. Zara nodded eagerly. "We've studied urban centers in our historical archives. Are there still functioning human cities?" "Functioning? Not exactly," Max replied, a mischievous glint in his eye. "But I can show you something even better. We're going urban exploring, alien style." After a quick breakfast of foraged fruits, which the aliens found fascinatingly flavorful compared to their nutrient pastes, Max led them on a trek through the forest. As they walked, he explained the concept of abandoned cities, how nature had reclaimed much of what humans had built. "It's like stepping into a time capsule," Max said, pushing aside a curtain of vines. "A glimpse of what was, and maybe what could be again." As they emerged from the tree line, Zara and Lyra gasped in unison. Before them stretched the ruins of a once great metropolis. Skyscrapers, their windows long since shattered, reached toward the sky like skeletal fingers. Streets, cracked and overgrown with vegetation, wound between the decaying structures. And everywhere, nature had begun to reassert itself, trees growing from rooftops, flowers blooming in old car frames, and vines crawling up the sides of buildings. "Welcome to New York City," Max announced with a flourish, or what's left of it anyway. The aliens stood in awe, their eyes darting from one sight to another, trying to take it all in. Lyra's voice was barely above a whisper as she asked, "What happened here?" Max's expression grew somber. "Climate change mostly. Rising sea levels, superstorms. It got to a point where maintaining the city just wasn't feasible anymore. Most folks moved inland or to higher ground. Then when the big sleep happened, places like this were just left behind." As they ventured deeper into the city, Max played the role of tour guide, explaining the functions of various buildings and structures. The aliens were particularly fascinated by the remnants of human creativity, faded billboards, crumbling statues, and walls covered in decades-old graffiti. "Your species had such a vibrant visual culture," Zara marveled, running her hand along a mural half hidden by ivy. "On Astria, art is purely functional, diagrams, instructional images. Nothing like this." Max grinned. "Oh, we're just getting started. Follow me." He led them to a building with ornate stonework, its entrance partially blocked by fallen debris. With some effort, they managed to squeeze through a gap, finding themselves in a cavernous space filled with shadows and echoes. "Ladies," Max said, his voice reverberating in the silence, "welcome to the Metropolitan Museum of Art." As their eyes adjusted to the dim light filtering through cracks in the ceiling, Zara and Lyra found themselves surrounded by millennia of human creativity. Paintings, sculptures, artifacts from countless cultures, all miraculously preserved in the climate-controlled vault of the museum. Max watched with growing warmth as the aliens moved from exhibit to exhibit, their expressions a mixture of wonder, confusion, and delight. They peppered him with questions about artistic styles, historical contexts, and the emotions that drove humans to create such diverse works. "I don't understand," Lyra said, staring at a large abstract painting. "What is its function? What does it do?" Max chuckled. "It doesn't do anything, at least not in the way you're thinking. Art isn't about function, it's about feeling, about expressing something words can't capture." Zara tilted her head, studying the painting intently. "And what is this meant to express?" "That's the beauty of it," Max replied. "It can mean something different to everyone who sees it. What does it make you feel?" The aliens were quiet for a moment, then Zara spoke softly. "It reminds me of the cosmic storms on the fringes of our galaxy. Chaotic, yet beautiful." Max nodded encouragingly. "See, you're getting it already." As they continued through the museum, Max found himself seeing human art and history through new eyes. The aliens' questions made him reconsider things he'd taken for granted, forcing him to articulate the intangible aspects of human culture. In the musical instruments section, Max managed to coax a few notes from an old grand piano. The aliens jumped at the sound, then leaned in closer, fascinated by the concept of music. "On Astria, sound is purely informational," Lyra explained. "We have never encountered anything like this." Max grinned. "Well then, allow me to introduce you to the universal language." Despite years of disuse, his fingers found the keys, and soon the haunting melody of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata filled the air. Zara and Lyra stood transfixed, their bodies swaying slightly to the rhythm. When the last notes faded away, there were tears in their eyes. "I've never felt anything like that," Zara whispered. "It's as if a sound reached inside me and touched something I didn't know was there." Max nodded, his own eyes a bit misty. "That's the power of music. It can express things that go beyond words, beyond reason. It connects us to something greater than ourselves." As the day wore on, they explored more of the museum, each new discovery sparking conversations about the nature of humanity, creativity, and the purpose of existence itself. Max found himself challenged by the aliens' perspectives, forced to defend and explain aspects of human culture he'd never questioned before. In the Egyptian wing, surrounded by sarcophagi and ancient artifacts, Lyra asked the question that had been brewing all day. "Max, why did your people choose to abandon all of this? How could they give up such richness, such life?" Max sighed, running a hand through his beard. "That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think they were scared. The world was changing faster than they could adapt. Climate disasters, political upheavals, technological revolutions, it was all happening at once. The virtual world offered an escape, a chance to live in a perfect simulation where none of those problems existed." Zara frowned. "But at what cost? They've lost all of this, all the beauty and complexity of real existence." "You're preaching to the choir," Max said with a wry smile. "That's why my ancestors stayed behind. Someone had to remember, had to keep the real world going, just in case." His voice trailed off, and for a moment, the weight of his responsibility seemed to press down on him. Lyra placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, her touch cool but reassuring. "In case they wake up," she finished softly. Max nodded. "Yeah, in case they realize what they've given up and want to come back." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, the trio made their way to the museum's rooftop. They sat on the edge, legs dangling over the side, looking out over the overgrown cityscape. "You know," Max said, breaking the contemplative silence, "showing you all this, seeing it through your eyes, it's reminded me of something important." The aliens turned to him, curiosity evident in their luminous eyes. "Humanity created incredible things, beautiful things," Max continued. "But we also nearly destroyed ourselves and our planet. Maybe the big sleep wasn't just an escape. Maybe it was a chance for the Earth to heal, for us to step back and let nature find its balance again." Zara nodded slowly. "A reset of sorts." "Exactly," Max said, his eyes shining with a new idea. "And now, with what we've learned, with the perspective your people bring, maybe we have a chance to do things differently, to wake up and build a world that combines the best of human creativity with a respect for nature and balance." Lyra's brow furrowed. "But how? Our mission was to observe, not to interfere." Max grinned, a hint of his usual mischief returning. "Well, technically you were still observing. You're just getting a really, really thorough look at human culture. And if that observation happens to spark some ideas about how to revitalize your own civilization and maybe wake up a sleeping one, well, that's just a happy coincidence, isn't it? The aliens exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. Finally, Zara spoke, her voice filled with a new determination. We have much to consider, Max of Earth, but I believe you may be right. Our encounter could be more significant than we ever imagined. As the last light faded from the sky, stars began to twinkle above the darkened city. Max lay back on the roof, Zara and Lyra on either side of him, all three gazing up at the cosmos. Tomorrow, Max said, softly, I'll show you something that might just change everything. For all of us. Little did they know, forces beyond their control were already in motion, forces that would test their newfound bond and challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe. As they worked, Max couldn't help but notice the growing bond between himself and the alien sisters. Zara's analytical mind complemented his creativity, while Lyra's empathy brought a crucial emotional understanding to their plans. He found himself imagining a future where their peoples worked side by side, learning from each other, growing together. But just as their plan was taking shape, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Chen's hologram flickered, her expression urgent. Max, we have a problem. The virtual world, it's destabilizing. Panic gripped Max's heart. What? How? A cascade failure in the main servers, Dr. Chen explained rapidly. The system was never meant to run this long without maintenance. If we don't act fast, we could lose everyone. The weight of millions of lives pressed down on Max's shoulders. He turned to Zara and Lyra, his eyes pleading. I know this isn't your fight, but I need your help. Will you stand with me? The alien sisters exchanged a look, years of unspoken communication passing between them in an instant. Then, as one, they turned to Max and nodded. We're with you, Zara said firmly. To the end, Lyra added. Max took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. All right, Evelyn, initiate emergency awakening protocols. It's time to bring humanity back, ready or not. Dr. Chen's hologram nodded sullenly. Initiating now. Good luck, Max. To all of you, the fate of 2 civilizations rests in your hands. As klaxons wailed and emergency lights bathed the chamber in a red glow, Max, Zara, and Lyra raced against time. Pods began to open, disoriented humans taking their first breaths of real air in centuries. The trio worked tirelessly, guiding the awakened, explaining the situation, and preparing them for the challenges ahead. Hours blended into days as more and more humans awoke. Max, running on adrenaline and sheer determination, coordinated the efforts with the help of his alien companions. They faced confusion, fear, and even hostility from some of the awakened, but slowly, a sense of purpose began to spread. Zara and Lyra's presence, once a shock, became a symbol of hope, living proof that humanity was not alone in the universe, that there was a greater purpose waiting for them beyond Earth. As the last of the sleepers emerged from their pods, Max found a quiet moment amidst the chaos. He stood with Zara and Lyra, looking out over the awakening city, where humans were taking their first tentative steps into a world reborn. We did it, Max breathed, scarcely believing it himself. Zara squeezed his hand, her touch sending a warm tingle up his arm. No, Max, you did it. We merely assisted. Lyra nodded in agreement. You never gave up on your people, even when you were the last one left. That kind of devotion, it's something our world has forgotten, something we need to relearn. Max turned to face them, his heart swelling with emotions he couldn't quite name. I couldn't have done it without you, both of you. You've given humanity a second chance, and you've given me something I never thought I'd have again. A family. The word hung in the air between them, full of promise and unspoken feelings. But before they could explore it further, a commotion from the city below caught their attention. A group of newly awakened humans was approaching, led by a woman with fierce determination in her eyes. Max recognized her from the historical records, Dr. Samantha Reeves, one of the original architects of the virtual world. "You're the one who woke us," she said, her voice hoarse from centuries of disuse. "We owe you a debt we can never repay, but now we need your help again. The world we've returned to, it's beautiful, but strange. And these visitors from the stars," she glanced at Zara and Lyra with a mixture of wonder and uncertainty. "We're lost," Dr. Reeves continued. "We need guidance, a bridge between what we were and what we could be." She took a deep breath, then asked the question that would shape the future of two civilizations. "Will you lead us?" Max looked at Zara and Lyra, seeing his own mix of terror and exhilaration mirrored in their eyes. He thought of all they had experienced, all they had learned from each other. With a smile that held the promise of a new dawn, he turned back to Dr. Reeves and the waiting crowd. "No," he said firmly, "not alone, but together. Together, we'll build a future greater than either of our worlds could have imagined." As the sun rose over the reborn city, casting its light on humans and aliens standing side by side, a new chapter in the history of two civilizations began. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but also with wonders beyond imagining. For Max, Zara, and Lyra, it was just the beginning of their greatest adventure, one that would reshape the very stars themselves. Echoes of the past. The dawn broke with an eerie stillness, as if the world itself was holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Max, Zara, and Lyra stood at the entrance of a nondescript building, its faded sign barely legible. Nexus Corporation, shaping humanity's future. "Ready to have your minds blown?" Max asked, a mixture of excitement and apprehension in his voice. The aliens nodded, that iridescent skin shimmering with anticipation. As Max placed his hand on a weathered scanner, the door creaked open, revealing a pristine white corridor that contrasted sharply with the decaying exterior. "Welcome," Max announced, "to humanity's greatest secret and its potential salvation or doom." They descended into the heart of the facility, the air growing cooler and charged with an otherworldly energy. Finally, they emerged into a vast chamber, filled with rows upon rows of sleek pods, each containing a motionless human form. Zara gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "The sleepers. There are so many." "Millions," Max confirmed. "This is just one of many facilities around the world, but this one is special. It's where the architects of the virtual world reside, the ones who could potentially wake everyone up." As they walked between the rows of pods, holographic displays flickered to life, showing glimpses of the virtual worlds within. Utopian cities, fantastical landscapes, and scenes of unimaginable beauty played out before their eyes. Lyra's brow furrowed. "It's remarkable, but empty somehow, like a painting you can't touch." Max nodded. "Exactly. It's perfect, but it's not real, and that's the problem." He led them to a central console, its surface covered in dust. With a few deft movements, Max activated the system, and a holographic figure materialized before them, a woman with kind eyes and a weary smile. "Greetings, Max," the figure said. "I see you've brought guests. How unexpected." "Dr. Evelyn Chen," Max explained to the bewildered aliens, "the lead architect of the virtual world and let's call her my virtual grandmother. She left this AI interface to guide me." Dr. Chen's hologram turned to regard Zara and Lyra with curiosity. "Extraterrestrial visitors? How fascinating. I do hope Max has been a gracious host." As the aliens stammered their greetings, Max cut to the chase. "Evelyn, it's time. We need to wake them up." The hologram's expression turned grave. "Max, we've discussed this. The risks are worth taking," Max interrupted. "Look around. Earth has healed. And now we have allies, perspectives we never considered before. We can do better this time." Dr. Chen fell silent, her algorithms processing this new information. Finally, she spoke. "Very well, but be warned. awakening humanity will not be simple. The shock of returning to reality could be devastating. We need a plan. What followed was an intense brainstorming session unlike any in human history. Max, with his knowledge of the real world, Zara and Lyra, with their alien perspectives and advanced technology, and Dr. Chen, with her vast database of human knowledge, all working together to craft a strategy for humanity's rebirth. As they talked, Zara and Lyra shared more about their own world's struggles. Our society values efficiency above all else, Zara explained. We've lost touch with emotion, with creativity. Seeing your art, your music, it's awakened something in us we didn't know we were missing. Lyra nodded in agreement. Perhaps our civilizations could learn from each other. A synthesis of human creativity and Austrian technology. Max's eyes lit up. That's it. We don't just wake people up, we give them a purpose, a chance to rebuild not just Earth, but to help revitalize your world too. A grand, cooperative mission to restore balance to both our societies. Dr. Chen's hologram smiled. An ambitious plan, but how do we implement it without causing chaos? They spent hours refining the details, creating a phased awakening process that would gradually reintroduce humanity to the real world while incorporating Austrian knowledge and technology. It was a delicate balance of preserving human culture while embracing a new interstellar perspective. As they worked, Max couldn't help but notice the growing bond between himself and the alien sisters. Zara's analytical mind complemented his creativity, while Lyra's empathy brought a crucial emotional understanding to their plans. He found himself imagining a future where their peoples worked side by side, learning from each other, growing together. But just as their plan was taking shape, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Chen's hologram flickered, her expression urgent. Max, we have a problem. The virtual world, it's destabilizing. Panic gripped Max's heart. What? How? A cascade failure in the main servers, Dr. Chen explained rapidly. The system was never meant to run this long without maintenance. If we don't act fast, we could lose everyone. The weight of millions of lives pressed down on Max's shoulders. He turned to Zara and Lyra, his eyes pleading. I know this isn't your fight, but I need your help. Will you stand with me? The alien sisters exchanged a look, years of unspoken communication passing between them in an instant. Then, as one, they turned to Max and nodded. We're with you, Zara said firmly. To the end, Lyra added. Max took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. All right, Evelyn, initiate emergency awakening protocols. It's time to bring humanity back, ready or not. Dr. Chen's hologram nodded solemnly. Initiating now. Good luck, Max. To all of you, the fate of two civilizations rests in your hands. As klaxons wailed and emergency lights bathed the chamber in a red glow, Max, Zara, and Lyra raced against time. Pods began to open, disoriented humans taking their first breaths of real air in centuries. The trio worked tirelessly, guiding the awakened, explaining the situation, and preparing them for the challenges ahead. Hours blended into days as more and more humans awoke. Max, running on adrenaline and sheer determination, coordinated the efforts with the help of his alien companions. They faced confusion, fear, and even hostility from some of the awakened, but slowly a sense of purpose began to spread. Zara and Lyra's presence, once a shock, became a symbol of hope, living proof that humanity was not alone in the universe, that there was a greater purpose waiting for them beyond Earth. As the last of the sleepers emerged from their pods, Max found a quiet moment amidst the chaos. He stood with Zara and Lyra, looking out over the awakening city, where humans were taking their first tentative steps into a world reborn. We did it, Max breathed, scarcely believing it himself. Zara squeezed his hand, her touch sending a warm tingle up his arm. No, Max, you did it. We merely assisted. Lyra nodded in agreement. You never gave up on your people, even when you were the last one left. That kind of devotion, it's something our world has forgotten, something we need to relearn. Max turned to face them, his heart swelling with emotions he couldn't quite name. I couldn't have done it without you. Both of you. You've given humanity a second chance, and you've given me something I never thought I'd have again. A family. The word hung in the air between them, full of promise and unspoken feelings. But before they could explore it further, a commotion from the city below caught their attention. A group of newly awakened humans was approaching, led by a woman with fierce determination in her eyes. Max recognized her from the historical records, Dr. Samantha Reeves, one of the original architects of the virtual world. "You're the one who woke us," she said, her voice hoarse from centuries of disuse. "We owe you a debt we can never repay. But now we need your help again. The world we've returned to, it's beautiful but strange. And these visitors from the stars." She glanced at Zara and Lyra with a mixture of wonder and uncertainty. "We're lost," Dr. Reeves continued. "We need guidance, a bridge between what we were and what we could be." She took a deep breath, then asked the question that would shape the future of two civilizations. "Will you lead us?" Max looked at Zara and Lyra, seeing his own mix of terror and exhilaration mirrored in their eyes. He thought of all they had experienced, all they had learned from each other. With a smile that held the promise of a new dawn, he turned back to Dr. Reeves and the waiting crowd. "No," he said firmly, "not alone, but together? Together, we'll build a future greater than either of our worlds could have imagined." As the sun rose over the reborn city, casting its light on humans and aliens standing side by side, a new chapter in the history of two civilizations began. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but also with wonders beyond imagining. For Max, Zara, and Lyra, it was just the beginning of their greatest adventure, one that would reshape the very stars themselves. The cosmic crucible. The weeks following humanity's awakening were a whirlwind of activity, hope, and unprecedented challenges. Max, Zara, and Lyra found themselves at the center of a storm, bridging the gap between two civilizations on the brink of transformation. "Viral restoration protocol activated," Max announced, his voice echoing through the bustling command center they'd established in the heart of the rejuvenated New York City. Holographic displays flickered with data streams as humans and Astrians worked side by side, their diverse skills merging in ways never before imagined. Zara's fingers danced over a shimmering interface, her brow furrowed in concentration. Nanobots deployed, initiating cellular reprogramming for the first wave of awakened humans. The viral restoration protocol was their bold solution to help humans adapt to the physical world after centuries in virtual stasis. Using a combination of Earth's resilient microbiology and Astrian nanotechnology, they were literally rewriting human biology on a cellular level. Lyra monitored the biofeedback with intense focus, cellular integrity at 78% and climbing. "It's working, Max." A cheer went up from the assembled team, a mix of human and alien voices united in triumph. But their celebration was short-lived as alarms blared across the command center. "Quantum anomaly detected," shouted Dr. Reeves, her fingers flying over a console. "It's like nothing we've ever seen." The main screen flickered to life, showing a swirling vortex of energy forming over the Atlantic Ocean. Tendrils of otherworldly light reached out, seeming to tear at the fabric of reality itself. Max's heart raced. "What the hell is that?" Zara's eyes widened in recognition and fear. "By the cosmic core, it's a rift storm. We thought they were just legends, tales to frighten young Astrians." "Care to share with the class?" Max asked, tension evident in his voice. Lyra stepped forward, her voice grave. "In our most ancient texts, there are stories of cosmic events so powerful they could bridge dimensions, even rewrite the laws of physics themselves. We always dismiss them as myths, but this is very real." Max finished, watching as the rift storm grew larger by the second. "Okay, people, this is not a drill. I need options, and I need them yesterday." The command center erupted into a flurry of activity. Humans and Astrians alike pored over data, theories flying back and forth in a dizzying exchange of ideas. What if we reverse the polarity of Earth's magnetic field, suggested a young human scientist. Impossible without causing catastrophic geological instability, countered an Austrian engineer. Wait, Max said, a spark of inspiration hitting him. What about the virtual world servers? They're quantum computers, right? Could we use them to stabilize the rift? Dr. Ree's eyes lit up. Theoretically, yes, but the power requirements would be astronomical. Zara jumped in, her voice urgent. Our ship's fusion core. If we overload it, it might provide enough energy. But that would destroy your only way home, Max protested, looking between the alien sisters with concern. Lyra placed a hand on his arm, her touch sending a familiar warmth through him. Earth is our home now, Max. All of us together. The gravity of their sacrifice wasn't lost on Max. With a nod of determination, he turned to the team. All right, let's do this. Dr. Rees, start reprogramming the virtual servers. Zara, Lyra, prep your ship for core extraction. I'll lead a team to establish a physical link between the servers and the rift. As the plan came together, Max couldn't shake a feeling of déjà vu. Here he was again, the fate of the world, no worlds, resting on his shoulders. But this time he wasn't alone. Hours later, Max found himself on a hover platform at the edge of the rift storm, wind whipping around him as he worked to align the massive quantum relay. Zora's voice crackled over the comm. Energy levels are critical, Max. We're nearly ready on our end. Just a few more seconds, Max grunted, making a final adjustment. There, relay locked in place. Hit it. A blinding surge of energy erupted from the relay, connecting with the swirling vortex of the rift storm. The very air seemed to vibrate with power as two realities collided. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, impossibly, the rift began to shrink. It's working. Lyra's excited voice came through the comm. Rift energy is decreasing by 3% per second. Max allowed himself a small smile of triumph, but as he turned to head back to the hover platform, a tendril of rift energy lashed out, wrapping around his leg. Max. Zora's panicked cry echoed in his ears as he was yanked towards the shrinking vortex. Time seemed to slow. Max saw flashes of other realities, worlds where humanity had taken different paths, where Earth had fallen to cosmic calamities, where Astrians had never made contact. He saw versions of himself, of Zora and Lyra, living countless lives across the multiverse. Just as he thought he would be torn apart by the cosmic forces, Max felt two pairs of hands grab him, pulling him back from the brink. He looked up to see Zora and Lyra, their faces strained with effort as they hauled him onto the platform. I told you, to stay at command, Max gasped, his body trembling from the ordeal. Zora managed a weak smile, and let you have all the fun, not a chance. As they clung to each other, the last of the rift energy dissipated, leaving behind a sky clear of anything but stars. In the days that followed, the implications of what had happened became clear. The rift storm had done more than just threaten Earth. It had changed them all on a fundamental level. Those exposed to its energy, including Max, Zara, and Lyra, found themselves with heightened cognitive abilities and a deep, instinctive understanding of quantum mechanics. It's like, I can see the code of the universe, Max tried to explain during a debriefing. Not just understand it, but manipulate it. Similar reports came in from around the world. The awakened humans, already adapting to their new reality, were evolving at an unprecedented rate, and the Astrians found their long-dormant emotional centers reawakening, flooding them with sensations and feelings they had thought lost forever. As the dust settled, Max stood with Zara and Lyra on the roof of their headquarters, looking out over the transformed cityscape. Green energy towers pulsed with clean power, while gravity-defying transportation pods zipped between gleaming buildings that seamlessly blended human aesthetics with Austrian efficiency. So, Max said, a hint of his old mischief in his voice. What's next? We've saved the world, merged two civilizations, and peered into the fabric of reality itself. How do we top that? Zara laughed, a sound that still sent shivers down Max's spine. Oh, I don't know. There's still the rest of the galaxy to explore, other civilizations to meet. Other wrongs to right, Lyra added softly, her gaze distant. Our people weren't the only ones suffering from a lack of balance. There's so much good we could do out there. Max looked between them, these extraordinary beings who had become so much more than allies or friends. His heart swelled with an emotion that transcended simple love, a cosmic connection forged in the crucible of their shared trials. Well then, he said, taking each of their hands in his, I guess we better get started. The universe isn't going to save itself. As the sun set on a new era for Earth and Astria, three figures stood silhouetted against the golden sky, a human and two aliens, bound by forces greater than blood or physics. They were no longer just individuals, but the living embodiment of a bridge between worlds, a testament to the power of unity in the face of cosmic challenges. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if in anticipation of the adventures to come. For Max, Zara, and Lyra, this wasn't an ending, but a beginning. The first chapter in an epic saga that would span galaxies and reshape the very nature of existence itself. As they turned to face their destiny, a shared thought passed between them. Whatever the cosmos had in store, they would face it together, as family, as pioneers, as the guardians of a new age of wonder and possibility. The universe beckoned, and they were ready to answer its call. Quantum Odyssey. The starship Nebula Seeker hummed with energy as it prepared for its maiden voyage. Its sleek design, a fusion of human ingenuity and Astrian technology, gleamed under the light of Earth's twin moons, a sight that still amazed those who remembered a time when Luna stood alone in the night sky. Max stood at the helm, his fingers dancing over holographic controls with practiced ease. The quantum enhancement from the Rift storm had transformed him into something beyond human, yet he still felt a very human flutter of excitement in his chest. Pre-launch diagnostics complete, Zara announced, her iridescent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that reflected her mood, a new development since their exposure to the Rift. All systems a go. Laura's voice chimed in from the engineering deck, quantum core stable. We're ready to make history, Max. Max took a deep breath, savoring the moment. All right, team. Let's light this candle and show the universe what Earth and Astria can do together. With a thought, for their mental link was now as natural as breathing, Max activated the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. The Nebula Seeker shimmered, seeming to phase in and out of reality, before vanishing in a flash of prismatic light. Seconds later, they emerged in a star system light years from Earth. But this was no ordinary faster-than-light travel. Quantum jump successful, Zara confirmed, her eyes wide with wonder. We've traversed not just space, but time. According to our calculations, we've arrived 3 standard Earth weeks before we left. Max grinned, the implications of their achievements sinking in. Time travel and FTL in one go. Not bad for our first try. But their celebration was cut short as alarms blared throughout the ship. Laura's voice came through, tight with concern. We've got company. Multiple unidentified vessels on an intercept course. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a swarm of sleek, predatory ships unlike anything they'd ever seen. At their center loomed a massive dreadnought, its hull adorned with pulsing red veins that looked disturbingly organic. A booming voice filled the bridge, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Attention, temporal interlopers. You have breached the domain of the Chrono Collective. Surrender your vessel and prepare for assimilation. Max's mind raced, processing the situation at quantum speed. Chrono Collective. Zara, any info in the Astrian archives? Zara shook her head, her normally cool demeanor shaken. Nothing. They're complete unknowns. Well, Max said with a grim smile, I guess it's time for some first contact improv. Open a channel. The view screen shifted, revealing a being that defied easy description. It seemed to be a fusion of organic and mechanical parts, constantly shifting and reforming. "I'm Max, captain of the Nebula Seeker. We come in peace and apologize for any accidental trespassing. We're explorers, not invaders." The being's eyes, if you could call the swirling vortexes of energy eyes, narrowed. "Explorers, you wield technology beyond your comprehension. Your very presence here threatens the integrity of the time stream." Laura joined them on the bridge, her empathic abilities reaching out to sense the entity's true intentions. "Max," she whispered, "I sense fear. They're not just angry, they're terrified of us." Max nodded slightly, a plan forming in his mind. "Look," he addressed the Chrono Collective leader, "we're as surprised by our capabilities as you are. We're still learning, still growing. Maybe instead of fighting, we could learn from each other." The being seemed to consider this for a moment. "Your proposal is unexpected, but the risk you pose cannot be ignored. We will not assimilate you, but neither can we allow you to roam freely through time and space." "What if we proved ourselves?" Max countered. "Give us a challenge, a way to show we're responsible enough to handle this power." A tense silence followed, broken only by the low hum of the ship's systems. Finally, the Chrono Collective leader spoke. "Very well. We shall issue you a quantum quest. Complete it successfully, and we will grant you limited passage through our domain. Fail, and you will be chronolocked, frozen in a single moment of time for eternity." Max exchanged glances with Zara and Lyra, seeing his own mix of excitement and apprehension mirrored in their eyes. With a nod of agreement from his companions, he turned back to the view screen. "We accept your challenge." The leader's form shimmered, and suddenly the bridge of the Nebula Seeker was filled with a swirling cosmic map. "Your quest is this. Travel to these 3 points in spacetime and retrieve the fragments of the cosmic keystone. Be warned, each fragment is guarded by trials that will test not just your power, but your wisdom, compassion, and understanding of the fundamental forces that shape reality itself." As the coordinates burned themselves into their enhanced minds, the view screen went dark. The Chrono Collective ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving the Nebula Seeker alone in the vastness of space. "Well," Max said, breaking the stunned silence, "I guess we've got our work cut out for us. Zara, plot a course for the first set of coordinates. Lyra, run a full diagnostic on our systems. Something tells me we're going to need to be at our best for what's coming." As they prepared for the first jump, Max couldn't help but feel a surge of exhilaration. This was why they had set out, to explore, to learn, to push the boundaries of what was possible. "You know," he said, a mischievous glint in his eye, "when I suggested we save the universe, I didn't think we'd be taking it quite so literally." Zara laughed, the sound like crystalline chimes. "Oh, Max, haven't you learned by now? With us, nothing is ever simple." Lyra joined in, her voice warm with affection. "But that's what makes it an adventure worth having." As the Nebula Seeker shimmered, preparing to jump into the unknown, Max looked at his 2 companions, no, his family. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever mind-bending trials the cosmic keystone might present, he knew that together they could face anything. The ship vanished in a burst of quantum energy, leaving behind only the echoes of their laughter and the promise of adventures yet to come. The quantum quest had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic saga of humanity, the Astrians, and the very fabric of spacetime itself. Little did they know, their journey was about to unravel secrets that would shake the foundations of reality and challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe. The true test was just beginning, and the fate of not just worlds, but entire timelines hung in the balance.